Hi, this is Jeff Wexler from the Board of Public Works. I'm proud and pleased to be able to present to you today the 2020 Annual Town Meeting Article 8 information. And we're going to be covering the tax impact operating and capital budgets for the Department of Public Works. I'd like to begin by saying thank you to our amazing staff that you can see pictured here, and really just calling attention to the work that they've been doing over the last several months. Obviously, we all know the impact that the entirety of society has had from the COVID-19 pandemic. But the Department of Public Works is responsible for our town infrastructure, streets, sidewalks, and parks and trails and playing fields, and our water and sewer systems, and our recycling and disposal facility. And they take great pride in being able to provide for our residents and in really making Wellesley the amazing, beautiful, wonderful place that it is. And as we know, these are challenging times. But thanks to the staff and to the leadership, they really have done amazing work over the last several months. Everything from keeping our water and sewer systems functioning, to keeping our RDF, our recycling and disposal facility open, and modifying it to be safe and keep it operating as a critical service. So I just want to say thank you to the staff and just thank them for a wonderful job they've been doing. So if you look at the appropriation request under Article 8, go down to the bottom there under fiscal year 21 requests, you'll see the total, which is $7,293,397, which is a 1.7% increase over fiscal year 20. When you break that down, what you'll see is that the bulk of that comes from tax funded. So all but 133,000 of that, which is self-funded, which comes from our RDF business initiatives. And we're very proud of those RDF business initiatives, and we like adding to those whenever possible. So a couple things to call out here is if you look at personal services, you will see that increase of 1.7%. That includes assumed guidance increases for Group 40 personnel and increases due to a temporary seasonal engineering support hire to help with construction projects because we've been busy in town, and a new highway division co-op program to help with a new asset management system, and additional support at the RDF to help with the reusables area when it does open again. And it also accounts for a reduction from 52.4 to 52.2 weeks, thanks to no leap year in the following year. We have no increase accounted here for production and supervisor units or merit pay plan. Those negotiations have not been finalized, therefore it's not reflected. If you look at expenses, the net increase of 1.3% in the expense budget, that's because of decreases in some trash disposal costs, because of a reduction in the number of tons of trash that we process, but some increases related to storm drain cleaning and drinking fountain, fence, and flagpole replacement work that was moved from the capital budget to the operating budget because of the small amounts. And you'll also notice that winter maintenance, we're calling for a 3.5% increase. That's due to the incremental additional funding for the program that's been historically funded well below typical winter requirements. You may remember that the amount we show, even for fiscal year 21, the $379,000, we're allowed to reflect a much lower than actual cost. And we do that because in a very light year of snow, we may not need additional funds. But in an average year, we will spend more than that $379,000, and that will get handled through separate requests for additional funding at town meeting. It's a process that most towns use, and it goes pretty smoothly. One other thing I'd like to call out is that the recent performance of our business initiatives that I mentioned over the last few years have been shown. Fiscal year 19 was not as strong. Fiscal year 20 we expect will be a little better. But yeah, we're just very proud of the fact that we basically cover our expenses and we made a profit from these business initiatives that we run. And there are other towns that actually have been approaching us about various activities and initiatives that we may be able to help them with that would be profitable and actually generate additional funds that can be in lieu of tax-related funds to run our operations. As far as our capital budget, our request for this year is $5,617,000. And one thing to point out is that is a tax impact cash capital budget of $1,677,000, and that is actually $749,000 less than last year. That is a 25% reduction from where we thought we might be headed for fiscal year 21, based on revised guidelines in discussion with the town and the selectman's office. And it's based on some conservative numbers around the impact of COVID-19. And we're very proud to be able to participate in revisions that were made and be able to cut that tax impact cash capital by 25% for the coming year. We do have the $790,000 of Chapter 90 funds coming in again this year from the state. That is basically comes from the gas taxes that we all pay, and they're used for road-related projects. You also see other funds. There's $400,000 there. That is funding from CPC, which will be used to complete Phase 2 of the Honeywell Field renovation project. And then finally, you will see the long-term bonding request for $2,750,000. That is for the Great Plain Avenue Rotary project that you will see discussed under Article 20. As far as the capital projects that are being worked on and are worked on, it's things like street resurfacing, the Great Plain Rotary I just mentioned, sidewalks, traffic island and streetscape renovations, playground renovations, tennis court rehab, field renovations, and the Honeywell baseball and softball fields that have seen some recent work. So use of capital funds for 21, you'll see the breakdown here, and you can see the funding and how we used our capital funds in fiscal year 20. And here's a comparison. But so as you go through, you can see we break it up by cash capital, bonding, and Chapter 90. So you can see street rehabilitation, the $2.75 million. That is again the Great Plain Avenue Rotary, and that's being covered by the bonding, as I mentioned. Then our Chapter 90 funds and the CPC funds that we mentioned are there for both street improvements and playing fields. And you will see then the remainder of these funds are coming from cash capital, and that covers street improvements. So that's paving of smaller streets. The difference between street improvements and rehabilitation. Rehabilitation is major arteries, like when we redid Cliff. Upcoming work on Grove, Great Plain, the plans for Great Plain Avenue Rotary here. Street improvements are for the smaller streets and the annual paving and repairs that gets covered. Sidewalk restoration. You'll see a more significant upgrade in spending on sidewalks than the prior year. Some private ways and some minor DPW facility projects, and then our budget for playing fields and vehicle replacement. And then you can see, speaking of vehicle replacement, you can see the vehicles we are discussing for this year. And something I would like to note is that if you look down at the second from the left, that is our Vactor. And if anybody would like to weigh in on this, we realize that the other thing you can buy for $480,000 is a Rolls-Royce Cullinan. That's the Rolls-Royce SUV, their black badge version, which is the blacked out, high trim, super sport, like fully loaded version. So we figured the $480,000 would be better spent on the Vactor, but if anyone else thinks we should be buying a Rolls-Royce, I don't know if it could do the same work. So, but that is our total expenditure for vehicles there. And if you have any questions, please write us at dpw@wellesleyma.gov. We look for your support for our tax impact operating and capital budgets this year, and we are pleased to present that here under Article 8. Thank you for your support.